Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing Batman Snow. Not Yellow Snow, Batman Snow. Take a look at the cover. Now, Batman Snow is a way of reintroducing, at least giving a solid origin story for Mr. Freeze in the modern continuity. See, since the Crisis of Infinite Earth, the big reboot, Mr. Freeze's origin story was never really touched upon. It was mentioned here and there, but it was really never touched upon in full detail. Batman Snow does that. And in addition to that, it also shows why Batman doesn't work well with teams, and where he's best alone, or if not at best with Robin. Now, this takes place about a year and a half into Batman's career, right before Long Halloween, and it is the last introduction to Batman's Rogue Gallery. All the other Rogue Galleries have been introduced up to this point. Now, Batman's have been having some relationship issues with Harvey Dent and Commissioner Gordon. Sounds like they're going out, but it's not. See, Batman's trying to track down some criminals, and Harvey Dent and Commissioner Gordon aren't giving him the information he needs. In addition to that, they're kind of going by the book, doing procedures. Things need to take time, Batman. Things need to take time. Batman's not like that. He doesn't understand why he can get done in a few days what will take the system a few months to do. So he goes off and he makes his own team of individuals with certain circumstances that match the profiles that he wants for this team. And they can either give him information as informants, do psychoanalysis on people, have a forensic team in there, technology-based team, or also someone in the team that can be muscle. Now, this team works out pretty well for Batman in the early going. Now, at the same time, Mr. Freeze, or Victor Freeze, his wife, contracts a terminal illness. I forget exactly what it's called. I think it's Hodgkin's disease or something like that. I could be wrong. I'm not a medic nut. But anyways, she has a terminal disease, and he tries to find a way to save her. He brings her to his labs, where he performs an experiment using cryo-freezing. However, the people in his lab have been tampering with it, turning it into a weapon, and he accidentally kills his wife, freezing her to death. At the same time, the liquid or the gas that causes her to get frozen gets on him and turns him into Mr. Freeze. He kind of goes crazy, and he starts having delusions of talking to his dead wife, who is convincing him to go around and kill everyone that's caused her to die. And that's exactly what he does. He kills almost everyone that was part of his team that screwed around with the equipment. All that was left was his boss. Now, Batman's team, his individual groups, have some trouble with the cops and also with some criminals, and they almost get caught by the cops. This causes great tension between Batman and his team. They kind of go off and become rogues on their own instead of working with Batman. Both Batman and his team try to go up against Mr. Freeze, which has a big climactic boiling point. Now, I'm not going to reveal the ending because that would just be an ass of me, wouldn't it? No, you're going to have to read it on your own. On to the good, the bad, and whether or not you skip. First good is that I like this is set in the early career of Batman, and I also like how it gives a good, solid origin story for Mr. Freeze. I think with Batman villains, especially, you need good, solid origin stories, because they're such dynamic characters, and they're great villains. The best villains in all comics. In addition to that, I really like Mr. Freeze. I think he's a very tragic villain. He's not bad in the first place, but the circumstances that he gets put under with his wife dying makes him bad. So it's a very tragic story, very much like how Batman's heroism is a very tragic story also. The art was fantastic. I like the art a lot. A few parts were kind of goofy, like Commissioner Gordon's ears having steam come out, but stuff like that can be overlooked for the sheer detail and nicely done art in this. It's not the most realistic art, but it's still fun. The story itself was well put together, and seeing Batman work with the team was actually fun too. Ultimately, you know they're not going to work out together. I mean, obviously, they're not anywhere around after this, but it was kind of like when Oracle had all her informants during No Man's Land, or Anarchy during the Anarchy saga had his little informants. It was nice to see Batman try to work with a group. To actually see him kind of smile. Whoa. Bad. The only bad I can say is I don't like the portrayal of Mr. Freeze in this. Like I said, I like the character of Mr. Freeze, but his portrayal, the origin story portrayal of him, makes him more like psychotic rather than just cold-hearted. I'd rather have to see a cold-hearted Mr. Freeze than a psychotic Mr. Freeze. However, I can let it slide slightly because from After this point, Mr. Freeze has been portrayed as cold-hearted, so one can just assume in the very beginning he was little. So yeah. On to whether or not you should get it. Well, the story was really good. Don't get me wrong, it was very nice. I enjoyed it fully. However, I have to recommend not picking that up unless you have a little extra cash on your hand. For the $14 price tag that asks for it, it's a short story, and although it's enjoyable, it really comes down to, do you want to pay the $14 to see how Mr. Freeze becomes Mr. Freeze, or would you rather save it up for something else? I mean, it really comes down to your discretion. It's a good story, but honestly, I wouldn't pick it up unless you have the extra money or you're the big Batman fan that I am. So, Snow, good story, but avoid it. Well, not avoid it, but put it on the back burner, get some other stuff first. With that said, this is Andrew saying peace out for now.